Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic.
What's a harmless habit that people don't realize is actually damaging in the long run? Lack of sleep. Was chronically sleep deprived for a time and can confirm. There comes a point where you stop feeling it, but sleep deprivation is like living half dead. Severely affects health, mood, and your brain. I remember as a kid we'd get late start days in the winter because of the snow and darkness. Everyone on my school bus said I was a completely different person with just 2 extra hours of sleep. I was unrecognizably patient and nice. People pleasing. If you are more concerned with making sure everyone around you is happy than you are about your own well-being, it will bite you in the ass. Eventually you will start to resent people because you will feel that they don't put in as much effort as you do, when in reality you are just doing too much. Take care of yourself, or you will not be able to truly care for others. Learn early how to set and maintain proper boundaries. I've also slowly realized that it's possible to people please so much that you truly don't even know what you want anymore, whether a small choice about dining out or a major life decision on a career or family. 100%. Been there most of my life. Not saying I'm not in the middle of it now. But that's why it's worth sharing. If you are young and you can learn to set healthy boundaries now, it will definitely be better for you in the long run. I'm in my 30s and really don't know who I am or what I want. My happiness has been so dependent on the happiness of others for so long, I can't even feel fulfilled if I'm not making someone else happy. It's honestly pretty miserable. Negative self-talk. Edit. For anyone who struggles with this, here are a few helpful thoughts. The opposite of negative self-talk isn't always positive self-talk. Sometimes it's just choosing not to moralize it. I did that wrong and will do it differently next time, is worlds away from, I did that wrong and I'm a bad person because of it. Educating yourself can make a world of difference. There's a lot of research, but here's a relatively recent study illustrating how negative self-talk might help performance in the short term, but the second link shows how it will actually decrease cognitive function in the brain over time. https://pmc.ncbi.nlm.nih.gov/articles/pmc82953661/ https://www.verywellmind.com/negative-self-talk-and-how-it-affects-us-for 161304. If you find yourself feeling ashamed because you're lazy, get checked for ADHD. If I can do it, I should, or I'm a bum, sounds like textbook executive dysfunction. A wise woman once said, if you're wondering whether you have executive dysfunction or are just lazy, ask yourself whether you feel ashamed for not doing it. A lazy person feels good when they don't do something they should. Ending negative self-talk isn't not about not thinking negatively. It's about choosing what we do when those thoughts come. I realize there's a lot of baggage in making a biblical reference, but there is some really interesting truth in the idea of taking every thought captive and making it obedient to God. If I haven't lost you yet, the point here is this: we cannot directly control our thoughts. No one can. All we can do is learn to recognize them and choose what to do with them when they come. What's really interesting about this, though, is that the act of choosing how to categorize thoughts can eventually shape the kind of thoughts we have with time. It's like James Clear says in Atomic Habits, we make a vote for the person we are becoming with every action, decision. Change doesn't happen overnight, but we can choose to change the way we vote and, with time, we can see greater change than we ever might have expected. Negative self-talk is not effective for learning, even if it feels like it. Daniel Kahneman's research around regression toward the mean in Thinking Fast and Slow tells it all. To begin, we must acknowledge there is endless research showing that we learn more from positive reinforcement than negative feedback. With that in mind, many people realize this pattern: if I yell at myself for doing poorly, I get better. If I praise myself for doing well, I get worse. This is, in fact, true in most cases, but it becomes obvious when we think about it. In both cases, the performance was an exception. If a student typically gets A, B, and they get A, C, it's likely that they will do better next time whether you reprimand them or not because they typically get B, S. The same is true in reverse. An exceptional result, whether good or bad, is, by definition, an exception. This means that, regardless of feedback, the next result will likely regress toward the mean, or be closer to average. All that to say, when we beat ourselves up for poor performance, we will typically do better the next time. If we encourage ourselves and celebrate an exceptional success, we'll likely be less successful the next time. The change needs to come in our acknowledgement of this principle and our treatment of ourselves as a result. When we fail, we tell ourselves, this was out of character and I will do better next time. And when we succeed, we should embrace it and realize we may not achieve this much next time, but it's a step in the right direction and enough of these successes will eventually improve the bottom line. I know this is a lot and it's likely that no one will read it, but if you do, please let me know. I've personally been on a journey with this topic for a few years, and these ideas were game changers for me. Wishing everyone the best, Black Heart. Please don't be too hard on yourselves. Your inner child doesn't deserve it, and you deserve better. I remember seeing an interview with an elderly lady who said her biggest regret was that she spent all her life hating herself. When she looks back at her 20s, 30s, 40s, etc., she realized how beautiful, healthy and capable she was, and how much time and energy she wasted talking herself down, and now she would die without ever loving herself. Changed my perspective on how I think about myself forever. This for real. I spent my 20s and most of my 30s being really down on myself for everything, particularly my weight and looks. Now I look back at pictures and see a perfectly average weight, perfectly averagely attractive guy, and don't know why I wasted so long caring that I wasn't a 10. Absolutely this. I always think of the David Gemmell quote, "Do not speak badly of yourself, for the warrior that is inside you hears your words and is lessened by them." The warrior inside of me already knows that I'm AF *** loser, and they just better be prepared to deal with that. I heard this quote, I'm not sure who from. We teach people how to treat us. I find this a good reminder, especially when meeting new people. We teach people how to treat us. And sometimes, you need to be the one that treats a person as they treat others. This reminds me of when I stopped following the golden rule. The golden rule is basically, treat people how you want to be treated. I stopped following it when I heard the line, treat others how they want to be treated. It helped me stop making assumptions and be more empathetic to other people's experiences instead of just relying on my own experiences for learning how to treat people. Only doing minimum payments on debt. Allowing interest to work against you. Exactly, that's a bad financial decision. Really struggling to get my wife to agree to paying more per month on the house. If I'm not mistaken, if you do 13 of your monthly payments every year, so one extra payment straight to principal, you will turn your 30-year mortgage into an 18-year mortgage. Sticking around in a relationship where you aren't happy. Situationships and contenting yourself, both. It's one thing to understand that a partner will not always make you feel warm and fuzzy, it's another thing entirely to stay with someone you know isn't a right match. For a time I thought loneliness was harmful, the equivalence with smoking a pack a day and such, but being lonely while with someone is, I'd say, even worse. Doomscrolling massively screws with your brain. Social media in general. All of these little tiny dopamine hits that take away the limited daily supply of dopamine from other things that are far more beneficial for you, all the while lowering your attention span and probably making you think other people have it better based on social media, causing depression or mental anxiety because of less real-life social interaction, because you are talking with random people on the internet instead of just going and doing something where you actually meet and connect with a person. Holding in your pee because you're busy at work. Adding, being so busy you don't poop. Can't tell you the number of people I've treated for self-inflicted constipation, that leads to bigger issues. Also, let your kids poop. I've also have had kid patients ages 9 to 15 who have fecal incontinence because they held it in for so long. It's a terrible thing for a kid to go through. As a teacher, you learn the value of bathroom breaks and also the power of giving bathroom breaks. The situations I've seen other teachers put their students through have been horrific. I've met female teachers who cannot read the room when a female student has just got her period. You only make that mistake once. Wearing headphones all the time in loud volume. As someone who used to do this, it constantly rings true today. Also, not wearing earplugs to loud concerts. Protect your ears. Not wearing sunscreen. Thinking it's polite to avoid hard subjects. Instead, we should learn how to appropriately address those subjects in a variety of settings. Avoiding them lets things that need to be addressed fester and grow. Only visiting a healthcare professional if the issue is extreme, long-term, persistent. Reduces the likelihood of catching serious illnesses in the early stages dramatically if you resist speaking to a doctor until it's crippling. This is US thing that is solely on the shitty negative incentives generated by the insurance system. I would also say that when I've tried to get something chronic handled, I'm met with either apathy or nothing showing in blood work, scans and cyclic repeat of tests with no answers. Neither of those is great either. Overworking and not taking time off from work. Last week, we had some really great weather. My husband has Wednesdays off, and on Tuesday afternoon he suggested I take Wednesday off so we can enjoy the day. I was hesitant to do so as we are understaffed and I had quite a bit of work and some deadlines. Usually I don't have deadlines, but I thought that life is too short. So I asked my boss if I could take the next day off as it was going to be a sunny day. He said sure. I have a great boss. At the people bragging about working a whole year and never taking a day off. Congrats, you're the target. Doomscrolling. It is messing with people's dopamine regulation on a scale we cannot yet comprehend. Children are in the most danger. Hate seeing my little nephew glued to a screen since before he could talk.